Survival here for humans is also an anti-human problem, and in which question of power cannot be avoided. And this makes the problem of survival also as a political one, for it prompts us to think about how we can find other ways to harness the power that will ultimately sustain our being in a manner that enables us to grow and to even flourish.
I think in the long term, a lot of forests will disappear. A lot of natural spaces. So the conserved areas are going to be safe, but it's sort of, if you've only got a conserved area here and here and here, and they're not linked up, like what actual use is that for conservation? Like, will species be able to survive in that anyway? Because if they're all cut off from each other and they can't have gene flow, like if a bird can't fly to another place, eventually the populations will become inbred. Or say a disease came, we have this small patch of forest left, but then a disease like the ash tree disease came in and wiped it all out, then what have you got left to conserve, really?
We had last week for the union president, because one of the nominees has an environmental manifesto point, and they were just like, there's a situation here, what are you guys doing about it? And yeah, you made the point about how people care more about the Amazonian jungles than they do about the Chaucer Fields yesterday.
Like I was saying about the species that can live in one with humans, things like magpies and crows and blackbirds, they can totally incorporate into, like, they can manage with just odd tree around. Yeah. But then there's other species that need this space to actually live, like they need this area to live in.
Otherwise they migrate or
they die out. If we got rid of all this forest, we would lose species. There would be things that could live like.
We're going to go. It is a sense of destroying everything, but you're not. You're regenerating that woodland. And what we try and do on the campus is to do it in blocks. So you have some blocks which are cut right down. You have some blocks which are growing up. So different stages of regeneration. And what you're doing there is ecologically, you're creating different structures. So the very physical structure of those spaces is different. And you then create a mosaic. You create a mosaic of different, and by doing so you maximise biodiversity. So for instance, the bird species which come in and feed on an open area are going to be different from the ones that are feeding in thick forests.
Trees building for that and making them pond.
Oh right, well so yeah, this is the project to actually, because when we took over this area of coppice, we thought, the royal we, thought, wouldn't it be nice to actually make something out of it that's just more than firewood? And with the redevelopment of the Marlow building, the idea was to actually build a building outside the back of Marlow, which would be like a place for students to hang out. It could be used as a classroom, outside classroom. And we're redeveloping the ethnobotany garden out there as well. So the idea was to have a space where you can make things from plants. With the agreement, they get it signed with the power station, then we can start making things happen.
Yeah.
We'll sell the timber to the power station, so we'll have sort of sustainable power generation, hopefully.
Bodies like the Wildlife Trust, RSPB, the County Council, etc. They're looking at a woodland strategy for the county to try and promote coppicing linked to biofuels.
There we are.
Because we need to coppice a lot of the woods in Kent for the wildlife,
Where do we need the
but
other
also
cup?
to make them productive.
A number of universities across Britain have divested from assets held in fossil fuels. The University of Kent has not, and there's been very little will in the conversations I've had to sort of lead this one forward.
Like putting down the tree and
make some grass, and
well,
it's more beautiful.
I like trees, you know, I quite like trees. I prefer more trees than just grass, definitely. I mean, it's nice only, I mean, at least they're putting grass on, not something else. It's still green.
if they build something in that place, would you agree with that?
It depends on what that is. Like if they build some benches or like something for students to chill out, I think that's nice. If they can provide like a nice environment for students to hang out instead of like another block of building.
The age of innocence has passed. Noah's ship. So the age of innocence has passed. I mean, we are way beyond the point where we can live in the forest. You know, the population is enormous, but that doesn't mean that we can't utilise the woodland more. I mean, it's becoming more and more popular. Things like agroforestry and so growing food in the woodland, or using the woodland as a source for food and growing mushrooms, for example. So the more we can encourage the use of wood, the more woodland that we can encourage to be planted. But I would wholeheartedly agree with the purist synopsis that we do need areas of true wilderness, because the wilderness, to quote Terence McKenna, if you need a teacher,
I would like to know about that.
If you need a teacher, try a waterfall, try a storm-pounded seashore.
Ancient Chinese.
That's where the action is.
Ancient Chinese proverb: the best time to plant a tree was 50 years ago. The second best time is today.
So you're straight through it.